Takuya is an ugly gooner who fakes a marriage with his gloomy coworker to avoid getting shipped to a new country. But everything changes when he gets to know her and realizes she's actually a baddie, so he stops pretending and rizzes her up to be his wifey. Everything starts on a normal workday, where Takuya, who works at a travel agency, suddenly senses a dark aura and catches his coworker, Rika, staring at him from across the room, which scares him. But unbeknownst to him, she looks at everyone that way, and it's not her intention to scare people. The following day, Asako calls a morning assembly and informs them a major news that their travel agency will open a new branch in Alaska next year. She adds that one of them could be chosen to manage it, but only if they are unmarried, and gives them a year to decide on a volunteer. Back at work, a coworker, Natsumi, jokes that the best way to avoid being chosen is to get married. Takuya overhears and panics, realizing that he does not have any close female friends, let alone someone to marry. Meanwhile, Rika thinks about Alaska, and she does not want to go. Days later, Takuya and Kama are heading home from the vet when, on his way back, they spot Rika. He tries to act casual, but ends up confessing that he is quitting the travel agency due to the major news. He explains that his cat, Kama, is too important for him to leave behind. Suddenly, Rika surprises him with a bold proposal that they should fake a marriage for a year, so neither of them will have to leave their job. She already has the plan worked out and is confident no one will dig too deeply into their relationship. While Takuya barely knows her, he agrees, stunned by how businesslike the conversation feels. The next day, Rika casually announces their marriage to Asako, who reacts with delight and teases Takuya for secretly packing heat that he's able to bag a baddie. She calls them a great match when Natsumi calls for Asako, leaving Takuya and Rika both relieved with a successful declaration. Later, Asako assigns them a joint task, and once they finish, Takuya receives a call to bring Rika to a restaurant to meet a client. But when they arrive, they discover their coworkers throwing a surprise party to celebrate their marriage, and they realize that the plan has backfired. Rika whispers that they need to lock in and face the party, and to work up the nerve, she walks out with booze to get drunk for it. While she slips away to down the wine, Takuya answers endless questions about their relationship. Asako notices the suspicious timing of their marriage and tells Natsumi, but instead of suspecting a fake marriage, she believes that Takuya has clapped Rika's cheeks and they are expecting an offspring. Just then, Rika returns, flushed with alcohol and ready for chaos. She hijacks the karaoke machine and sings a song in front of everyone. Her voice is terrible, but Takuya cannot help but admire her nerve. After the party, they walk home together. Rika, unsteady on her feet, falls into him, which forces him to catch her. She blushes deeply and quickly hurries off, feeling embarrassed. Takuya hesitates, wanting to walk her home, but the moment slips away, and he is left feeling guilty for not joining her in karaoke. Days later, Rika stages an imaginary date and practice with an imaginary Takuya so she can create a believable story of how they met. During the imaginary date, she feels guilty that she cannot picture his face in her daydreams, which results in a faceless Takuya. She is shocked to learn he is 2 years younger, and realizes she knows almost nothing about him, despite working together for years, but that makes her aware of how few people she has let into her life. While she is lost in thought, Takuya appears, offering to help with their love story. They ride a Ferris wheel together, and Rika shows him matching wedding rings to make their act convincing, which surprises him, and tells him he needs to invent a proposal, but that shocks him as he has never crafted one before. He locks in and convinces himself that he can do it, but when he's about to propose for real, the words do not come out, and he realizes how heavy and powerful a proposal can be. Instead, he tells her he has nothing prepared, afraid it might make things too real between them. But as the Ferris wheel reaches its peak, Rika tells him she will wait forever for his proposal, making him blush, and she admits that she has been doing things she has never done before. As for the first time, it's like she is living an ordinary life. Meanwhile, Rika is at the beach. It takes her hours to get there, all for the sake of collecting souvenirs for their fake marriage. She laughs to herself, swept up in the moment, but suddenly, her phone buzzes. A message says the sender is in Tokyo and wants to meet her. She replies bluntly that she is not in Tokyo and tells him to enjoy himself, hoping he will leave her alone, which ruins her mood. Back home, Kama won't stop pawing at the shirt Takuya wore the last time he saw Rika. Takuya suspects it is because of the perfume she had on, and maybe that explains why Kama has been acting so strangely lately. As he watches, Takuya thinks about how pathetic he felt when he tried to propose to her, as something deep inside is holding him back from fully committing to their fake marriage. He picks up the ring Rika bought for him and tries to slip it onto his finger. At first, he cannot bring himself to do it. But when he remembers their time together on the Ferris wheel, the hesitation fades, and he slides the ring on. For a fleeting moment, he feels like an adult, like someone who could be a proper husband for Rika, even if the marriage is fake. His phone rings, and an unknown number flashes on the screen. When he answers, a voice threatens to expose his fake marriage to Rika, claiming to have proof and promising to send him to Alaska. Back at work, Takuya tells Rika about the threatening call, and he explains that the caller knows about Alaska, which means the person must work with them. Just then, Hiromi approaches and asks if he can go to Takuya's place to talk after work. He feels that it's suspicious, as Hiromi has never done this before. So Takuya and Rika quickly hug in front of him, saying they would be happy to have him visit Takuya's apartment. Both of them suspect Hiromi might be the caller, so they agree to keep him from learning too much. After work, Takuya begs Kama to behave when the guests arrive, promising a month's supply of gourmet cat food in exchange, and Kama accepts the deal. When Rika arrives, she is surprised by how neat Takuya's apartment is. Before Hiromi shows up, she starts decorating to make it look like a couple's home, putting matching toothbrushes, matching pillows, and framed photos they took together. Once finished, they quiz each other on personal details so they can handle any questions from Hiromi. Takuya comments that it feels like practicing for a school event, and Rika admits she was always cast as a tree in school plays because it was the easiest role. Then, the doorbell rings, and they open it to find not only Hiromi, but also Itsuki and Natsumi. While they drink, Takuya asks Hiromi what he wants to talk about, and it turns out that Hiromi needs advice on how to riz a chick so he can clap them, as he sees Takuya as a Chad with godly riz. When Rika heads to the restroom, Takuya feels suddenly drained, overwhelmed by their questions. He tells the others that wearing a ring does not really change anything, and asks if marriage is actually great. Harumi and the others say it is, but both Takuya and Rika fall silent at that statement. After Itsuki and Natsumi leave, Hiromi confides that he likes Natsumi and wants Takuya's support. After he leaves, Takuya worries again about the person who threatened him, especially since Hiromi only seemed to be after marriage advice. Later, as the couple cleans up, Rika declares she never wants to host again, as it is far too exhausting. She doesn't understand why people get so excited about someone else's marriage, and Takuya explains that being married makes them glow in front of them, which piques their interest. But Rika believes that she will never see that kind of light. Takuya disagrees and says that he shines because of Kama, as their time together makes him happy. Everyone's glow is different, and Rika admits her glow comes from reading maps after work. She steps closer to share more about her hobby, and the sudden closeness makes them both blush. Takuya tells her that is her kind of light, and she blushes even harder. When the cleaning is done, Rika excuses herself, and on the walk home, her chest feels tight as she has never been this close to a man before. At the same time, Takuya lies back on his bed, thinking about how wonderful she is, but they both tell themselves not to get the wrong idea about each other. Weeks have passed since their marriage announcement, and the office buzz has finally died down. Just then, a man named Koichi walks in and takes a seat near Rika, but she regrets being there as she's not used to dealing with customers. But she sees that all the customer tables are full, leaving him sitting alone. So Rika approaches him and offers her help. But Koichi explains he is not there to buy a ticket. He is looking for Takuya. He reveals that he is Takuya's father, and he has heard about the marriage. He asks if she knows anything about it. But, being shocked, Rika lies to protect Takuya. Koichi leaves her with a wedding gift to give him, and at first, she plans to leave it on Takuya's desk. But then she remembers how Koichi traveled a long way to see his son. She hurries to catch him and suggests they go to a cafe so he can meet Takuya. Sitting together, Koichi tells her that Takuya is his eldest son from the family, and in their tradition, a wedding means a grand festival with hundreds of guests, including neighbors and co-workers, and that if Takuya's marriage is not done properly, the family will lose face. Back at the travel agency, Takuya finds the wedding gift and a message from Rika. Panic sets in when he realizes she is having coffee with his father. Takuya immediately heads to the cafe where Rika and Koichi are talking, and Rika quickly insists that Takuya talk with her privately. She briefs her about how the father doesn't know that she is his wife, but he tells her she should go home and that he will handle the rest of their lie. But when he returns inside, he is surprised to find Rika still seated beside him. She says she cannot go home yet, as she needs to explain everything directly to him. Koichi apologizes to Rika for troubling her and for lying about the traditional wedding, which surprises her. He explains that while the tradition was once alive, it no longer is, because many people from Aso now move to the city instead of marrying and raising families there. He understands how Aso is considered dull and boring, but Rika expresses how she believes the countryside to be interesting. She shows her favorite atlas and shows Koichi how she understands his love for the countryside. Koichi is surprised that Rika seems to know so much about Aso. Rika replies that she thinks Aso has beautiful traditions and scenery. Koichi reminisces about watching trains with Takuya, sunsets over the mountains, and the rice paddies where young Takuya secretly excelled at catching frogs. Listening to Koichi, she reflects that any place can begin to feel like home if you remain there long enough, and Koichi says he loves Aso and will not leave. He feels it is his duty to protect it. Takuya understands the hint behind his father's words, which frustrates him, since Koichi keeps circling back to the wedding and the town. Then, Koichi admits he heard about Takuya and Rika's supposed marriage before leaving Aso, which shocks both of them, who didn't expect that the rumor had spread so far. Koichi tries to recall the name of Takuya's bride, but Takuya cuts him off quickly. Takuya finally says he will return to Aso for a proper talk about the marriage, and Koichi leaves the cafe, satisfied. Afterward, Takuya tells Rika that he will go back to Aso to reveal the marriage is fake to his family, and Rika regrets how far she has pushed the lie, realizing it is backfiring and dragging her into his family than she ever intended. Back at work, Asako calls Takuya over for a favor. She explains that Princess Claudia wants to spend her last day in Tokyo and requires a male attendant. Asako warns that Claudia is a dirty hoe around men, even though she's married, and insists that Takuya take the job because the other men in the office would spend the day trying to rizz and bump bellies with Claudia instead of guiding her properly. And since Takuya is engaged, Asako believes that he is harmless. After work, Takuya researches Claudia's background, feeling the pressure of the responsibility, especially with his pending trip to Aso. Rika notices his struggle and wants to help, but stops herself, realizing she's about to help him for no reason, and that something inside her has changed since she met him. The next day, Takuya arrives at the meeting spot and sees bodyguards stationed everywhere. He expects Claudia to emerge from the crowd, but instead she surprises him by appearing in disguise as an ordinary woman. She tries to speak Japanese but struggles, so Takuya informs her that he speaks English, and she sighs with relief. Before they leave, he asks if she will not be going with her people. Claudia explains that they are there for Princess Claudia, but today she is just Claudia, who is free to have fun. Realizing his first mistake, Takuya quickly switches into full attendant mode. Claudia has no plan for the day, so Takuya takes her to the cat shrine, knowing she is a cat lover. Asako calls, concerned that Claudia is missing, but Takuya tells Asako that Claudia is with him, and he sticks to his own plan, which includes fishing, eating, and boating around Tokyo. Claudia marvels that Tokyo feels like a giant jewelry box and declares that she expects something greater next. After thinking hard, Takuya brings her to a school rooftop, a place few ever enter, where she is reminded of the anime Sailor Witch. He surprises her with a Japanese school uniform, so she can cosplay as the budget Sailor Moon, and they spend the evening enjoying the rooftop view. Then, Claudia says her wish is fulfilled, but she has one last request, to visit Takuya's apartment. Back at work, co-workers speculate about their outing. Itsuki jokes that they must have been alone in a room because Claudia is known to like men so much. Rika overhears but feels unbothered, as Takuya is not her real lover. After work, she heads to his apartment to give him something. She hears Claudia making loud, happy noises inside, and is confused when she sees her in a school uniform, thinking that Takuya is kinky like that. Suddenly, Claudia sees her, but Rika hides, and Takuya explains that people often pass by because it is a shared apartment. Rika panics and leaves, thinking that Takuya is probably expanding Claudia's creamy domains by this point. Meanwhile, Claudia attempts to enter Kama's room, only to get scratched by the cat and tumble onto Takuya just as Rika walks in. Rika gets jealous and scolds him for risking their marriage by bumping bellies with a princess, but Claudia greets her warmly, saying she wanted to meet her. Takuya reveals that he tried texting her, and Rika apologizes for not seeing it. He then explains that Claudia is only there because he told her he and Rika are engaged. Claudia is impressed by his loyalty and admits she is considering leaving the royal family after seeing their relationship. She reveals that she has a secret lover named Marie, and that her marriage was purely for her country. She confesses she has long questioned the meaning of marriage, and says Takuya and Rika have inspired her to one day marry her love like an ordinary person. Then, before leaving, Claudia thanks them for giving her the best day of her life. After she departs, Rika apologizes for interrupting. She explains that she only came to give Takuya a frog-shaped stone, since she collects stones, and his father had mentioned his fondness for catching frogs. Embarrassed, she hurries home, vowing never to do something like that again. Meanwhile, Takuya cherishes the gift, touched by her gesture, and wonders what it would have been like if he had truly married Rika out of love. Some days later, Takuya gets a text from his sister who's persistently asking about his supposed marriage to Rika. The constant questions make him decide he will head to Aso over the weekend and finally tell his family that the marriage is nothing but a fabrication. Yet as he makes this resolution, his eyes fall on the small frog-shaped stone Rika once bought him. Takuya recalls Rika's gesture, the way she handed it to him so casually, and suddenly blushes when he wonders if there was some deeper meaning behind it. Still, a part of him suspects she only wanted to remind him to stay committed to their plan, especially since he has not been handling it with much care. The next day, when Takuya arrives at work, he notices an odd distance from Rika, who is avoiding conversation, embarrassed after their last interaction at his apartment. She has never been this close to anyone before, especially someone like Takuya, and she regrets overstepping in ways she cannot easily explain. Suddenly, Hiromi corners her with a casual but pointed question, asking if she plans to accompany Takuya to Aso for a parent bride meeting. Rika is caught off guard, wondering how Hiromi could even know about Takuya's trip home. Being cornered, she struggles to form a reply, worried that anything she says will worsen the situation. Before she can answer, Takuya steps in and rescues her, explaining to everyone that Rika will not be coming, since he only has dull family matters to deal with. He quietly reassures her afterward, reminding her that he is still following through with their plan, and she shouldn't worry. Just then, Rika receives a call from an unknown number, and the caller is the very person who has been threatening Takuya, pressing her about going to Aso and warning that she must meet his family to prove their marriage is real. After work ends, Takuya takes Kama to a pet hotel run by Senmori. She notices his unusual decision, since he almost never leaves Kama there, and she asks where he is headed. Takuya does not answer, as his mind is too occupied with the strategy he and Rika must execute once in Aso. While paying Kama's bill, Senmori sees the strain on his face, and when he admits he has too much on his mind, she half jokes that although she has no medicine for humans, she can still try to cheer him up. He leaves the clinic with a lighter heart, reminding himself he is enduring all this for Kama's sake. Meanwhile, in her apartment, Rika prepares for the trip. Excitement mixes with a lingering sense that she owes Takuya an apology. Unsure what to wear in Aso, she remembers her mother's advice to be confident in herself, to trust her own intelligence and ability to make decisions. By the next morning, Takuya is already waiting at the airport when Rika arrives. Her outfit rizzes him up immediately, catching him off guard because she looks every bit the young woman wanting to impress her future in-laws. On the plane, however, Rika begins doubting her choice, realizing her clothes could make his family believe their fabricated story even more convincingly. Takuya tries to ease the mood by asking about her family. She hesitates but then admits she has visited Aso before with them. That brief mention makes Takuya realize she dislikes the subject, but she softens and explains anyway, since it might appear during conversations with his family. She shares that her father was absent during her childhood, while her mother worked constantly, leaving her to raise herself at home. She describes her habit of spending long hours alone, playing with maps, and creating dolls of herself and her mother to imagine traveling to a city where they could finally be together. Rika calls it a dull story, but for Takuya, it is anything but. When the plane lands in Aso, Rika wishes him luck before they face his family. Just then, Takuya's grandmother surprises them by appearing at the airport. He explains she is from his father's side, and together they ride with her. During the drive, she teases Rika for being cute, adding that she has heard endlessly from Koichi about who Takuya is planning to marry. Forced into the role, Rika affirms that she is not the bride and everything is a lie, forcing Takuya to admit the truth. The grandmother doesn't react with anger, but warns that they have much to explain to the rest of the family. She takes them first to her home, showing Rika the abundance of Japanese melons she intends to gift her. Since Takuya's grandfather is ill, Takuya offers to help package them. Not wanting to be idle, Rika also asks for a task, and the grandmother instructs her to change clothes and assist her in snipping melons from the vines. As Rika learns the correct way, she cannot help but marvel at the beauty of the fields stretching around her. Then she tastes the melons, and they taste exquisite, leaving her genuinely amazed. The grandmother proudly explains that she has planted many fruits, which is a great source of pride for Koichi. Then, almost casually, she adds that she already knows Rika was lying earlier about what they said, and is actually getting married. Rika insists otherwise, but the grandmother only smiles, saying Rika is just like Takuya, who is caring, and because of that, she permits her to marry him, so long as it makes him happy. Suddenly, Rika collapses from heatstroke. Alarmed, the grandmother shouts for Takuya, who rushes over and immediately scoops her up. He is surprised by how heavy she is in his arms, but carries her into the house, where they are met by Koichi's sudden arrival. Koichi is stunned to discover that Takuya is at his grandma's house. He rushes over to help Takuya lift Rika and bring her inside. While holding her, Takuya and Koichi begin to argue when Takuya blurts out to his father that he has no intention of marrying and that Rika is the very girl Koichi once saw in Tokyo. Trying to make amends, Takuya apologizes for the false story, but Koichi demands more than a simple sorry, since he has spent his days running around Aso preparing for Takuya's supposed wedding. Koichi lashes out, blaming Takuya for always dealing with life too slowly. Just then, Takuya's grandma quietly lays out a futon so Rika can rest. Hours later, the doctor arrives, examines Rika, and assures them she is not suffering from heatstroke, only fatigue, and that she simply needs rest. Everyone exhales in relief. Once the doctor leaves, Koichi tells Takuya he is living half-heartedly. Out of nowhere, their grandma apologizes for causing Rika to faint, and both forgive her before heading to Koichi's house. At home, Takuya confesses to his family that he lied about his marriage to Rika. His sisters and mother are visibly disappointed, having bought him wedding gifts and cooked a lavish meal in anticipation. His mother, Ikuko, gently tells Takuya to focus on caring for Rika and assures him not to worry about their father, promising that she will calm him down. Later, Takuya heads back to his grandma's house to check on Rika, and finds his futon placed beside hers. Embarrassed, he considers moving it, but Rika suddenly wakes up, startling him. He explains that she collapsed in the garden and has been asleep, and that he already confessed the truth to his family and apologized. Determined to take responsibility as well, Rika declares she will apologize to his family the following day. The room grows quiet, with only the chorus of frogs filling the air outside. Hearing the sound, Rika urges Takuya to step out with her. Enchanted by the countryside, she marvels at its beauty until a tree frog hops onto her forehead, causing her to slip on a rock. Takuya catches her just in time. She gasps as he smoothly grabs the frog in his hand, and he reminds her that it was Koichi and him who carried her earlier. Grateful, Rika apologizes for the trouble and walks into the garden. There, she admits that being in the countryside with him feels special, as it feels unlike any of her other trips. Suddenly, Takuya reveals that the frog-shaped stone she once gave him still sits on top of his TV, and every time he sees it, he remembers her. As the stars pierce the sky, Rika begins to wonder if what she shares with Takuya is what marriage feels like. He opens his mouth to say something, but the croaking of frogs interrupts, ruining their moment. The next morning, Rika lies awake, unable to sleep as she replays what Takuya almost said. Downstairs, she finds his grandma already preparing breakfast. After eating, she goes to freshen up and bumps into Takuya, blushing at the sight of his chopped morning hair. They depart, and his grandma sends them off with melons as souvenirs for Tokyo. As they walk to his family's house, Rika notices again how fluffy his hair looks, only to realize she is staring and quickly grows embarrassed. At the house, his sisters and mother welcome her warmly. Rika apologizes for causing trouble the previous day, but his mother insists it was Takuya's fault. As Rika sits with them, Takuya stands awkwardly in the hallway, listening while his family questions her. His sister finally tells him to take Rika around Aso before their departure. Rika wants to stay to apologize to Koichi, but they explain he has already left for work out of embarrassment. When the family wonders aloud what sights are worth seeing in Aso, Rika proposes visiting the Volcano Museum, and the room falls quiet at her suggestion. Takuya takes her there, and on the way, she again notices his fluffy hair. Rika has longed to see the Aso Volcano Museum, and the bright weather reminds her of the old Balchai Komori show that Takuya once loved. During the drive, she daydreams about herself inside the show. On arrival, she beams at the volcano's history and artifacts before the two head to a nearby double mountain. She guides him along the trails until a child suddenly bumps into her, sending her stumbling into Takuya's arms. He steadies her, then scolds the stupid little jit to help the struggling tour guide, only to praise them when they obey. Rika watches, while being impressed, and she attempts to explain the mountains to them, but the kids fail to grasp her words. Takuya jumps in with a silly dad joke, making them laugh, and together he and Rika lead them around the mountain. The children and the guide leave happily, waving their goodbyes. On the ride back, Takuya asks if Rika feels tired, but she is too distracted by his hair and how close they have become during this trip. When they reach home, Takuya plans to call his sister for a ride to the airport, but is taken aback when his baddie of a childhood friend, now, suddenly appears. His family greets her warmly as she shows off the glass plates she has made, surprising Takuya with the news that she has become a glassmaker. Rika steps out of the car, and Takuya introduces her to Nao, explaining that they have been neighbors since birth. Rika watches silently as Nao casually ruffles Takuya's hair, while feeling a pang of jealousy as she realizes her growing feelings for him. Then, to her surprise, Nao turns to her with a smile and asks if they can be friends, revealing that she will soon be moving to Tokyo for work. When Takuya and Rika return from Aso, Rika grows distant, which makes Takuya worry that he has made a mistake or that his family has said something to her. He feels grateful he doesn't finish what he almost says to Rika in the garden, certain she would hate him more despite everything they share. Meanwhile, Rika watches the Balchai Komori show, but she can't focus because her mind drifts to Takuya. She feels embarrassed imagining that he might like her back, and now she thinks about switching off her feelings for him. The next day, Asako warns her coworkers about the summer fair, reminding them that they have to work twice as hard. Then, Takuya greets Rika, but she answers coldly. At lunch, everyone is amazed by a fellow coworker, Shu's lunchbox. Shu explains that his wife prepared it for him that morning, and everyone calls him lucky for having a caring wife. After work, Takuya drinks with Hiromi, who brags about wanting a wife who makes lunch every day. Hiromi asks Takuya for advice because Natsumi won't look at his face. He insists that if a girl likes someone, she looks at their face, but Natsumi doesn't. Takuya, unable to advise him, heads home because he misses Kama. Back home, he tells Kama that Rika won't look at his face, unlike Kama, who always stares when he wants something. The following day, when Takuya arrives at work, everyone panics, and Takuya is asked about Shu's whereabouts. Confused, since Shu is never late, he wonders where he could be and tries speaking to Rika, but she avoids his eyes, reminding him of Hiromi's words about not seeing his face. He realizes something has gone wrong because before the Aso trip, his relationship with her was warmer. Suddenly, Shu's son, Hideo, walks in and asks about his father, making them realize that Shu went missing. While Natsumi tries to comfort him, Hideo reveals that Shu has been missing since last night after a fight with his mother, who now wants a divorce. The coworkers are shocked to hear about Shu's divorce, but George, irritated, orders them to return to work so Hideo won't worry. Then George surprises everyone by telling Takuya to accompany Hideo to search for Shu, which is unusual. Takuya and Hideo begin searching, following Hideo's clues about where Shu might be, and Takuya learns that Hideo is desperate because his mother has locked herself in her room. After visiting several places without success, Hideo grows worried and says he can't find his father. Takuya takes him to a cafe and buys him a hamburger. While eating, Hideo bursts into tears, convinced he will never see his daddy ever again, thinking he's gone to buy milk. Takuya moves closer to comfort him, reminded of Koichi, who always blames him. Yet he feels lost, not knowing what to say, since he knows nothing about marriage or broken homes. After lunch, he calls Asako to report that Shu remains missing. George takes Asako's phone and tells Takuya to head to a bar in Fukugawa called Deep Sea Bar, claiming there is a feng shui for depressed men there. Takuya and Hideo go to the bar, soon joined by Itsuki, Natsumi, and Hiromi. Takuya, Itsuki, and Hiromi enter while Natsumi stays with Hideo so he won't see his father being depressed. Inside, Shu sits at the counter, apologizing for being late because he had things to do. He scratches at the divorce papers like a madman, then breaks his eraser in anger, begging for his old life back because everything had been perfect. Suddenly, Shu bolts out of the bar, and though Hideo sees him, Shu doesn't notice his son. The entire office joins the search, and they find Shu in a park, stumbling around like a drunk gorilla. They try to chase him but fail. Meanwhile, Hideo searches desperately, followed by Natsumi, until Rika stops him. She comforts him gently, recalling her own childhood when her parents fought. Elsewhere, Shu charges at George, but George knocks him out with a punch. Shu refuses to go home, saying misery awaits him there. Shu explains that the night before, he bought his wife a gift for their wedding anniversary, but instead of getting himself some cheeks, she asked for a divorce, and his anger flares because he believes they were the perfect couple. Eventually, Shu goes home, embraced by Hideo as they leave together. The next day, Asako announces the agency's inter-branch contest. She wants them to win and speaks with enthusiasm, but the others lack energy, still shaken by Shu's troubles. They worry about him and his marriage. Suddenly, George delivers a speech about marriage and how happiness is never guaranteed to follow, stunning everyone. Later, when Takuya goes to grab a tape, he reflects on how even someone as kind and respectable as Shu can struggle with marriage. He wonders about normal life and marriage, then enters the storage room, where Rika struggles with a large box. Blushing, he helps her. Still, she remains distant, explaining that the box holds a canoe she made for display. She wonders aloud if Shu will truly get a divorce, remembering how sad Hideo looked, but Takuya stays silent, afraid to spoil the moment. After work, Rika walks home, thinking she can't talk to Takuya anymore because she doesn't know what to say, still traumatized by her own parents' divorce. On the way, she feels tempted to cut him off, until Nao suddenly appears and asks for her help. Nao says that she has just arrived in Tokyo and cannot find the address of her apartment. Nao gives Rika the address, and both are surprised when they discover that Nao will be living next to Rika's apartment building. As gratitude, Nao gives Rika her workshop address in case Rika wants to visit. The next day, Takuya tells Rika that he will be working outside the office. Takuya looks at Rika, but she avoids meeting his eyes, and while Rika wants to tell him that she bumped into Nao the other day, she changes her mind because she thinks it is not her business. After work, Rika wonders what kind of person Nao is and decides to go to her workshop. When Rika arrives at Nao's glass workshop, she sees Nao trying to impress the glass master. Nao makes a glass piece for the master, but the master finds it not good enough. Rika, however, is impressed with Nao's skill and decides to go home, but Nao spots her. Nao greets her and admits she feels anxious about Tokyo, and to ease her tension, she wants to have a drinking party at Rika's apartment later. Rika tries to refuse because she has never let anyone into her apartment, but she eventually decides to allow Nao in. In Rika's apartment, Now brings beers and strong alcohol. She tells Rika that the glass she is using is one she made herself, infused with stones from Aso. Now recalls that when she was little, she was fearless and used to play in the mountains and rivers near Aso because it was the only place she could go. She feels it was her secret hideout from everyone until one day she discovered a swimming hole near the river. Rika remarks that Now describes it like a place where Totoro would appear, but Now says that gray herons show up there instead. After sharing her past, Now asks Rika if she ever gets irritated by anything, and Rika replies that the corner of Now's map being folded pisses her off. She then opens a can of beer, and Rika keeps venting about things that irritate her, while opening another can after every irritating thing. Now tells Rika that she knows about Rika and Takuya's fake marriage from his family, and she asks if Rika has any feelings for him. Rika admits that she wants to know the truth about Takuya's feelings, and she never imagines he could be close to someone as adorable as Now. Rika struggles to understand human emotions because she has never gotten close to anyone, and she feels that if nothing exists between her and Takuya, then he should tell her so directly. She almost asks Now whether she and Takuya are truly childhood friends, but pulls back, lowering her head to the table, because with a fake marriage, she has no right to be jealous. Instead, she asks Now if Takuya has always been vague since childhood. Now answers that he never was, except once, when he discovered her secret spot, and they played until midnight. Now cried because they got lost, but Takuya comforted her and brought her home, and while her parents were mad, Takuya defended her. After hearing this, Rika doubts that Takuya would do something like that again. Suddenly, Now decides to call him because Rika wants him to be clear with her. Now calls Takuya and says she is drinking at Rika's apartment, asking him to come immediately. Rika does not stop her, but Now passes out drunk. With no choice, Rika waits for Takuya to arrive, drinking with him when he shows up. Then, Takuya comes to Rika's apartment and is surprised to see both women drunk. He tries to wake Now, but Rika angrily tells him to sit down because she has questions for him. Rika asks Takuya what he meant to say to her in the garden. Takuya answers that he was only saying he was grateful to walk with her at night, which disappoints her because she had daydreamed of something more. He apologizes if she is angry, admitting he has a habit of taking too long with words. He explains that when he was little, he thought he would excel at everything, but as he grew, the world began to make less sense. Rika tells him she has a similar experience, since she cut off her parents when she was young, and when she was comforting Hideo, she wanted him not to follow her example. She believes that if she turns her feelings off, she will not get hurt, and yet she cannot do that because of him. Rika blames Takuya for saying cute things that make her reconsider cutting him off, and because they are co-workers, she wants them to be clear with each other. Takuya pauses, then suddenly asks Rika to go out with him and be his girlfriend. The room falls silent as both think about retracting their words. Takuya already imagines the awkward workdays ahead, sitting across from an angry Rika. While Rika wonders if she is hallucinating from the alcohol, tempted to call it a joke, but knows it would be unrealistic. Takuya feels scared under her stare, while Rika silently wonders why he would even ask her out. With her limited experience in love and dating, Rika remembers that as a child, every boy who tried to get close to her eventually grew bored. She has gotten used to it, because she is only human, but she fears Takuya will also get bored with dating her. Time passes as they both wait for either of them to speak, wishing that either of them would just release a decibel. But after waiting hours, Takuya finally decides to drag Now outside and take her home. Rika passes out after overthinking the possibilities of dating him, while Takuya carries Now away, feeling stressed about how he has confessed his feelings to Rika. The morning Rika wakes after her drinking party with Now, her whole body feels sore, and she feels sick, realizing she's a pathetic loser who gets sore from being asked out. During breakfast, on the bus, and while walking to work, the soreness lingers. When she sits in her office, she feels relieved that Takuya has the day off, but she's still embarrassed about what happened last night. She can't stand how easily she gets flustered and even considers calling him. Meanwhile, in his apartment, Takuya spends the day in bed, too embarrassed to confess his feelings to Rika. He wishes life came with a restart button, like in video games, because what he did last night feels stupid. He notices Koma glaring coldly at him for skipping work. Suddenly, the doorbell rings. Takuya thinks it must be Rika, ready to apologize and finally give him an answer to his risky question. But when he opens the door, he's stunned to find Hiromi instead. Hiromi apologizes for disturbing his day off, as he's come seeking advice from him, the Riz Master. Takuya denies being any kind of master, insisting he's the one who needs advice when it comes to Rika. Hiromi explains that he isn't here about Narumi, but that he's on a dating app and wants Takuya to come along because he trusts his judgment. Curious, Takuya agrees. Hiromi shows him the profile photo he's using and the money he spent, which shocks Takuya. Hiromi says the app is trending, and several people at the office have even married through it. He adds that he's there to protect Takuya from dangerous women, having dated a few himself. Today, though, he wants Takuya to tag along. Hiromi puts on a weed coat, as he's meeting a girl from a fan club, someone he's liked for a while. They head outside, where Hiromi waits near a statue. While waiting, Takuya reflects on modern romance and admits to himself he isn't the kind of man who can easily get married, considering his low salary and chopped looks, which places him in the same boat as Hiromi. Suddenly, the girl, Kaori, arrives, surprising Hiromi. They perform their weed chant together, and Kaori reveals her face, which is leagues above Hiromi's level. She tells Hiromi that dating apps can be risky if she overshares, but now that they've met, she wants to talk about their club. Kaori insists they talk like they do online, since they already know each other's true selves. Watching Hiromi make progress, Takuya leaves them to it. Hiromi and Kaori go to see idols' outfits, then continue their date with karaoke, lunch, and sightseeing. They're surprised when they realize how late it's become, and Kaori says she has to be elsewhere, but wants Hiromi to call her at midnight. She gives him her number, making him smile at how well the app works for him. When Hiromi gets home, Kaori calls, and they spend hours talking about their favorite idol group. The next day, Takuya notices Rika has the day off. While mopping, Hiromi keeps bragging about Kaori, and he suddenly declares he's decided to marry her because he feels a powerful connection. That evening, Takuya hangs out with Hiromi, who practices confessing to Kaori. Takuya asks if he's rushing things, and Hiromi admits his parents were distant when he was young, and he's only close to his brother. Hiromi shares his dream to marry Kaori and raise a bunch of cute kids, because he feels she's the one. Touched, Takuya gives him his full support. After dinner, Hiromi calls Kaori to meet. He tells her they should date and eventually marry. She doesn't answer but asks him to follow her. They take a bus, and Hiromi senses something is wrong. She leads him to a daycare and reveals she's a single working mother. She asks him to decide how he feels, but makes it clear she's not pressuring him. When he stays silent, she leaves. Hiromi goes to the deep sea bar and tells Takuya what happened. He says he doesn't mind Kaori being a single mother, but admits the revelation shook him. Days later, Hiromi still can't stop thinking about her. But at the bank, he realizes he could afford child support. Excited, he asks Kaori to meet him at a restaurant. While waiting, he grows anxious that she won't show. Instead, Kaori's daycare friend, Ichika, arrives with a message that Kaori is thankful to him for everything, but says she's sorry. Hiromi asks if Kaori still likes him, Ichika, but says she can't answer. She explains she's used her own kids to scare off men, but insists Kaori isn't like that. Hiromi accepts the rejection gracefully and meets Takuya at midnight. He admits he's not ready for marriage and blames himself for hurting Kaori's feelings. While he cries, Takuya wonders if he could ever go that far for Rika. Meanwhile, Kaori tucks her son into bed and looks at her photos with Hiromi. At first, she wants to delete them, but changes her mind and stops herself. After seeing Hiromi crying about Kaori, Takuya tells himself that he will talk to Rika again. Days later, Rika considers calling Takuya to give her a response to his confession. She struggles to find the right way to express her feelings, and then suddenly, Nao appears. Nao apologizes to Rika for the mess she made at her house, admitting that the last thing she remembers about that night is having 3 drinks and then nothing. As Rika listens to Nao's apology, she recalls her mother telling her to live a life of freedom. She confesses to Nao that she has spent her life avoiding the right decisions, which unexpectedly moves Nao. Wanting to ease Rika's tension and also make a better apology, Nao suggests a glassmaking workshop, hoping to give Rika a sense of freedom. Days later, Rika visits Nao's glassmaking workshop. Nao welcomes her warmly and tells her she will learn the process. She introduces Rika to the glass master, who casually flashes a gang sign, leaving Rika both surprised and amused. Watching the master work alongside Nao, she is captivated by the beauty of the glass. When the master leaves, Nao begins teaching her the craft. She tells her to blow the molten glass like she would blow Takuya, and as Rika tries, she feels the intense heat of the molten glass. Then, they make the base using a paddle, and during it, Rika locks in harder than she ever did before to ensure she doesn't mess up. Once she finishes, Nao takes over and do the most difficult parts. When the master returns, she hands Rika a drink, and after completing her first glass piece, Rika marvels at Nao's skill and realizes she has been burnt out all this time, convinced things would always turn out badly. For the first time, she feels both nervous and refreshed, curious about what other experiences might stir the same feeling. She admits to herself that she often cuts people off because she doesn't want her mother to worry. Yet this habit has turned her into someone who can't decide anything alone. Her mother's advice echoes in her head, and the memory nearly overwhelms her. Nao presents her finished glass, pointing out that it's slightly sloped, but still good enough to pass the glass master's approval. Rika takes it home, wondering what purpose the glass will serve. Then, she suddenly receives a text from someone called Ritsu, asking to meet her. Days later, Rika prepares for the Sunday evening meeting. She washes her hair and even puts on heels, though she can barely stand in them. At a cafe, she orders coffee while waiting for the person to arrive, and when Ritsu arrives, Rika calls her as mother. She notices the many shopping bags her mother carries, all for her consultation work, and her mother explains that, as an interior consultant, making a strong impression after securing a job is important, which is why she often buys things from overseas. She gifts Rika a shirt from Belgium, admitting she doesn't know her size and wants her to try it on. Rika admires her mother's energy and almost asks for advice, but decides to hold back for another time. When Rika mentions she is still working at the travel agency, her mother expresses concern about the low pay and offers to get her into freelance travel work. Rika refuses, saying she is happy with her current life. Her mother is pleased, seeing that her daughter is finally making her own decisions, and she gives her motherly advice to Rika to set goals so she can fulfill her desires. Rika is struck by how driven her mother is, especially since she raised her alone. While her mother takes photos around the cafe, Rika reflects that she could never be like her, as she's someone who lacks big dreams and close friends. Feeling discouraged by the thought, she is caught off guard when her mother asks if she has been thinking about marriage. Her mother admits she failed in her own marriage, which brought hardship to Rika, and says she wants her to choose someone who will truly be good for her. While her mother talks about marriage, Takuya keeps trying to call Rika, but she doesn't notice, which makes him think that he screwed up by asking her out. Just then, his phone rings, and he answers, fully expecting it to be Rika, but is disappointed when he finds that it's Kama's vet. Later, after leaving, her mother makes a call to someone about Rika's marriage and tells the eyes person that Rika hasn't shared anything, despite the rumors she has heard. On her way home, Rika sees Takuya's missed calls. She wonders why he is reaching out and suspects it is about his confession. Not knowing what to say, she decides not to call him back. On the train, she recalls a school tragedy. A boy who liked her once sent her a message, asking to meet after school and promising to wait for her answer. Embarrassed, she skips school for 3 days, locking herself in her room and checking her phone constantly for a reply. After the weekend, she learned the boy had gotten sick from waiting for her, and the memory traumatized her. Thinking again of her mother's advice to choose a husband carefully, Rika makes her way to Takuya's apartment. Takuya tries calling her again, but she doesn't answer. He senses she is avoiding him because of what happened in her room. Suddenly, his doorbell rings. He opens it to find Rika standing there, boldly ordering him to go on a date with her. After making the request, she tells him she will inform him of the place later and apologizes for not answering his calls. When Rika leaves, Takuya is left completely bamboozled with what just happened. The next day, he takes the train to Hamarin for the date, following Rika's order. She goes to the exact location she asked him to go, the dam, and while waiting for her at the dam, he wonders how his missed calls can turn into a date. Just then, Rika arrives and confronts him for wearing leather shoes, warning him of the amount of walking they're about to do. She informs him that she wants to do an aqueduct tour and adds that if he gets bored, she doesn't mind if he leaves. As they walk to the tour site, she tells herself that she refuses to act fake and want to show him the real her, one that tolerates zero nonsense, just so Takuya can see and hate the real her. Meanwhile, Takuya notices her change of character, which is so unlike her usual reserved self, and senses that she is in a strange mood lately, from first inviting him on a date, now glowing with anticipation. He asks why they are suddenly doing an aqueduct tour, and Rika bluntly explains that she saw it on the Bochai Komoro show, where the two clapped-looking show hosts visit the beautiful and historic sites along the Tamagawa River. Rika then purposely tries to bore him by sharing childhood stories and facts about Tamagawa, but to her surprise, Takuya remains engaged. Takuya tells her he is a fan of the Bochai Komoro show, but despite watching every episode, he never visited the locations, unlike her. As they admire the scenery along the aqueduct, he notices a more relaxed, natural, real side of Rika, which makes him blush and slowly fall for her. Yet he notices she keeps a distance, confusing him. Rika thinks that she is successfully boring him, which is what she wants, unaware that he is enjoying the tour. Deep in the forest, he tries to point out Mount Fuji from his spot, but she leaves him behind. Before he departs, he rings a bell, gaining a stroke of luck. Walking to the next stop, Takuya feels hungry, realizes it is lunchtime and tells her they should stop at a nearby convenience store. She ignores him at first, but when his stomach growls, she gives him a snack bar to make herself look even more distant. But they eat together, and he finishes it immediately, cherishing the gesture. Rika keeps moving, savoring every second of the tour, taking in the scenery and sensations. She stops at a river bridge and realizes the water she holds is the same water once used by the people of Edo. Closing her eyes, she daydreams about them and marvels at the beauty of the old Japan. Takuya agrees with her, which surprises her daydreaming. He apologizes for surprising her, explaining he answered her words on autopilot. While reading information about the place, Rika is embarrassed to learn he has been watching her daydream, and is pissed that she made him see the dreamer side of her. She tells him that he shouldn't force himself to follow along, but to his surprise, Takuya confesses that he enjoys every second of the tour because he is spending it with her, who seems to be enjoying it a lot. Rika realizes her plan to bore him has backfired, and she begins to think he isn't human, believing that no real person could enjoy the same boring and mundane things she does. She calls him weird, saying that she shouldn't be enjoying something like this, but he takes everything she says. Then, she admits that the real reason she asked him on the date is that she wants to end their fake marriage. She tells him it will be the last time they see each other, explaining she will take responsibility for the Alaska branch and is afraid of who she's turning into around him. Takuya is left speechless but gradually understands her feelings. Rika realizes something is wrong inside her, as she is someone who always cuts people off to avoid disappointment. But deep down, she feels like crying and realizes that secretly she wants him. Meanwhile, Takuya, unable to leave, is unsure what to do. He blames himself for always accepting everything and contemplates taking a different path, feeling afraid of losing someone as important as her. He grabs her hands from leaving, and to his surprise, she holds his back. Leaning toward each other, Rika's hat falls, and they kiss for the first time. When they open their eyes, they both scream internally, hearts racing, and unprepared for what just happened. When Takuya steps back, he is surprised to see Rika shocked and frozen to his riz. She tells him she needs a moment and that they need to reevaluate, as her head is baining like volcanoes exploding. She admits that many things have happened between them lately, but they were never friends, and only co-workers faking a marriage for the office. She explains that they barged into each other's homes and went on nighttime walks at Aso, asking how they could keep pretending. Takuya is unsure what to say, and both being uncertain of their feelings, it leads her to plan this whole trip to simplify things and break the off. But now she doesn't understand how it ended with them gobbling each other's tongues. Embarrassed, he receives her favorite map book from her, and she says she needs to go home to think, letting him continue the trip alone. Before leaving, she assures him she isn't angry. Takuya admires her calmness, amazed that she can stay composed after their passionate kiss. Rika returns home and, once inside her apartment, screams at the top of her lungs to let the volcanoes run wild. She tries to calm herself by stacking stones, but excitement overwhelms her, and she still lingers the fact that they kissed. The next day, Asako receives a call about Takuya and Rika, which sparks her curiosity. At work, Takuya and Rika bump into each other in the morning, unsure of what to say. They try to stay polite, still embarrassed by the kiss. Around them, co-workers continue as usual, while they navigate their awkward interactions. While working, Rika consults her notes to him, but when they look at each other, they instantly recall the kiss. They both try their hardest to work as normal, but the image of their juicy kiss refused to leave their heads, making it hard to be productive. He tells himself to remain calm, worried someone might notice a change in their behavior, and she tells herself the same thing. Just then, Asako calls them to her office, saying she needs to discuss something serious. Asako tells Rika and Takuya that she has a recruitment program that needs their help. She explains that she wants them to document their daily married life, from home to work, so the travel agency's new recruits can trust the company as a company that supports married couples. Asako insists it should be a web-based report, which puzzles Rika and Takuya. Later, they sit in a cafe to discuss the problem. Takuya suggests that Asako may suspect their marriage is fake, which could be the real reason behind this assignment, especially since someone is indeed watching them, as shown by the threatening calls they keep receiving. Rika worries that the caller will create even more problems, since unexpected situations keep happening around them. Takuya admits that the best option might be to give up, but he doesn't want to lose her to Alaska, which makes her blush. After hearing his words, Rika tells him she also wants to try the project, but they need to remain calm and think carefully before moving forward. She points out that Asako believes they are a married couple, which means they will have to live together in Takuya's apartment for the project. Rika warns him that if they agree, they could end up inseparable, and she worries about Kama, since they will have to maintain his expectations and lifestyle. Before leaving the cafe, Rika says she needs time to decide. Days later, Rika takes a walk in the mountains and finds herself drawn to a stone that, for the past 100 years, seems as if it could fall at any moment but never does. She loves this stone and never tires of it. To her, it resembles Takuya, who never gives up on her. Remembering their kiss and the way they solve problems together moves her deeply, and she realizes she has real feelings for him. She thinks living with someone will be a mountain of shame, yet she still insists on trying. She resolves to tell Takuya to be ready, because she is finally ready for his feelings. In his apartment, Takuya feels down. Days have passed since he confessed through that kiss, and he can't stop thinking about Rika. Suddenly, the doorbell rings, and when he opens it, Rika is standing there, determined. She tells him she has made her decision, and she is ready for Asako's program. Without hesitation, Rika barges in and presents her plans. While explaining them, she lays out rules for how they will live, since they are both socially awkward. One rule is that they must raise their hand when they want to speak, to avoid interrupting each other. They try it out but quickly find it exhausting. Agreeing with Takuya that the rule is impractical, Rika then points out the real problem, Kama. For the project to work, they need Kama's permission, since he never accepts strangers in Takuya's space. Rika sets up her tent in Takuya's wide room, wanting to contribute to rent and bills, but he insists on covering everything. When Takuya brings up dinner, Rika freezes, realizing she hasn't thought about it. Seeing her hesitation, Takuya reassures her that he will handle dinner since he was planning to shop anyway. Once outside, he feels relieved, as the tension of suddenly living with Rika is overwhelming. Meanwhile, Rika remains in the apartment, where she notices Kama standing behind her. She holds still, afraid, since Kama has never approved of her staying there. Suddenly, she feels something fluffy against her legs, and sees that Kama is brushing against her, as if comforting her. She is shocked, unsure if this means he accepts her. When Takuya returns, he is unsure how to approach Rika, who is inside her tent. She greets him and thinks of her concern that if they don't stay mindful, they might accidentally kiss again. Watching her, Takuya worries that she might have specific dietary needs he can't meet, so he offers to cook for both of them and invites her to help. To Rika's surprise, Takuya cooks swiftly and produces a delicious meal he considers ordinary, but to Rika, it's like she saw Gordon Ramsay in action. Embarrassed by the heat and her sweat, Rika opens the window, worried he will notice. At the same time, Takuya becomes self-conscious about the smell of his apartment, fearing it will disgust her. Then, when she takes a bite of the food, she is in awe with how tasty it is. She asks what he do with it, and Takuya reveals that he uses ethnic condiments and spices from different ethnicities. Takuya shows her his spice collection, ranging from places like India to Indonesia, and she's amazed to know that Takuya has this kind of hobby. They inch closer, sharing each other's excitement, but Rika quickly backs off and reminds herself to keep some distance. Afterward, she takes the dishes to clean but realizes she needs to brush her teeth and use the bathroom. Too embarrassed to use his toilet, she decides to use her own and runs back to her home, leaving Takuya confused. But after she leaves, Takuya immediately uses his bathroom, equally embarrassed at the thought of her seeing him take a fat, stinky dookie. Later, he sits near her tent, feeling grateful for the solitude he once had, now realizing how difficult it is to share space with someone. When Rika returns, she acknowledges she can't keep going home every time she needs the bathroom. But then, Takuya hesitantly asks how she plans to bathe, which freezes her in place as she realizes that she needs to bathe, which she doesn't want to do with him around. He also freezes, realizing how strange his question sounds, and his imagination begins to wander to a more plotful place. He quickly offers a solution for her to go to a nearby bathhouse. Rika agrees, and on her way there, Takuya follows, saying he wants to go too. They then buy toiletries and split up to take a bath in different bathhouses. After bathing, she steps outside the bathhouse, thinking he has already gone back home, but is surprised to see him waiting for her. They walk home together, and Takuya is struck by her beauty, while Rika is secretly happy he stayed. Their hands then brush against each other, making them blush. Back at the apartment, they both sense something more should happen after a day like this, something involving Takuya pumping and her squealing, but instead, embarrassed, they go to bed. Neither of them can sleep, bothered by the same feeling. Rika grows frustrated, unable to handle her excitement and the heat inside her tent. Suddenly, Takuya receives a text from her, asking if he is awake. He panics, thinking she is upset about the noise he is making. At the same time, Rika struggles to find the next thing to write, convinced he is the one having trouble sleeping. Both want to ask if they should keep each other company, even thinking of relieving each other's stress, but neither sends the message. However, Rika pops up from her tent, unable to bear the heat inside it. Takuya opens the window to cool the room, comforting her. As she relaxes, Takuya realizes how hard it is to live with her, with all the little things they must navigate. Then, he wonders what would happen if they got married for real. The next day, Takuya and Rika submit their married web life program to Asako, surprising her with how cute they look in the pictures. Afterward, Asako goes to give a higher-up, Mamoru, proof that Takuya and Rika are already married. Mamoru doesn't know anything because the head office sends him to make sure, and that if Takuya and Rika are married, then only one person remains available to send to the Alaska branch. Asako disagrees with who Mamoru picked to send to Alaska, but Mamoru explains that the Alaska branch needs a young worker because it is impossible to open without any staff. Hearing Mamoru's explanation, Asako reluctantly agrees to send Hiromi to the Alaska branch. Hiromi panics when he hears rumors about being sent to Alaska, and his coworkers try to calm him by insisting it is just a rumor. But Itsuki makes him way more anxious by worrying aloud about what to give him as a parting gift. Takuya and Rika hear about Hiromi's panic, and after work, Takuya can't believe Hiromi is going to Alaska because of his and Rika's plan. He doesn't realize what he has just caused and regrets his decision, knowing everything Hiromi has gone through. Then, when Rika interviews Takuya for their marriage program, she asks whether the rumor about Hiromi is true, but Takuya doesn't respond, as he is speechless. That night, they go to bed, but all Takuya can think about is Hiromi being sent to Alaska. He knows it is his and Rika's fault, but he never expects such an outcome. He knows that anyone in the office could be chosen for Alaska, but thanks to Rika's fake marriage plan, he and Rika are safe, so he tries to be grateful for this outcome. The next day, Takuya confronts Asako before she enters the office. He wants to tell her that his marriage to Rika is a lie, hoping to end the problems. But when he bows, he remembers a similar moment from his childhood. When he was a little jit, he went to a swimming pool with friends for free on opening day. On the way home, he saw a food truck and bought some grilled squid, even though his mother had told him not to spend money on anything but the pool. At home, he told her he had used the money to pay for the pool, but she noticed the sauce on his mouth and realized he had lied to her. That night, his father told him to confess his sin. Takuya then cried, not from being scolded, but because he was ashamed of lying. Back in the present, Takuya drops a tear. He realizes he has never truly grown up, but now he can choose differently. He tells Asako about the fake marriage, how he disappointed everyone by lying to them, and volunteers to take the blame by going to Alaska. To his surprise, Asako doesn't get angry. She takes him to her office, where he is surprised to see Rika already waiting inside. Asako explains that Rika has confessed before him and is willing to go to Alaska, taking Hiromi's place. But realizing that neither wanted the other to be punished, Asako feels relieved. She calls them a good couple, admitting she never suspected. Then she tells them not to worry, as she will go to Alaska herself, shocking both Takuya and Rika. She tells them that the head office agreed to it, and she asks them not to tell anyone. At work, Takuya worries that he is part of the reason that Asako is leaving. But Asako knows the office will be fine without her because everyone is close now. After work, she takes them to accompany her to the airport and explains her decision. Before marriage, she used to travel across the country, which was something she loved. But after marriage, she became a travel agent and couldn't travel much. But she still loved her work because her husband was also a travel agent. Now, she wants a life full of journeys and challenges, as she believes that is her meaning of life. She recalls the time when she told her husband about her desire to travel to Alaska. But to her surprise, her husband fully supported it and even wanted to join her so he could clap some of her Alaska cheeks.
Yeah, boy.
Later, Takuya and Rika return to the apartment, and because they don't have to lie anymore, they agree to end their fake marriage. They place their rings on the table, clean up 2 months of fake marriage items, and decide to tell the office the truth. Outside, they throw away the trash, agreeing that marriage is full of tiring things like scheduling time, so they can bump bellies to see whose turn it is to change their baby's poopy diaper. And they conclude that they prefer living alone. They part ways for good, but on her walk home, Rika starts to cry, realizing that she won't be close to Takuya anymore. However, Takuya realizes his life is full of possibilities and will be dull if he doesn't act now, so he runs after her. At a crosswalk, he shouts her name. She turns to him, and he asks if she will marry him for real. They yell back and forth, both confessing their feelings of how they both do want to marry each other. Suddenly, she asks if Takuya loves an insecure, socially awkward woman, which is her, and Takuya states that he loves her, which pushes Rika to tell him she loves him as well. Hours later, they stand in the park where their fake marriage began, with the rings in hand. Rika tells him he can call her by her first name, which makes him nervous. He then proposes, for real this time, and she accepts. But before they celebrate, she reminds him they owe the office an apology. They go to the office, shocking everyone with news of their fake marriage and their newly real marriage, and they're confused whether they should congratulate them or scold them. Hiromi congratulates him once more for the marriage, while the newly blonde Shu depreasingly warns him that one of them might cheat and take half. But Asako pops up to order them to go back to work. Days later, Takuya has a day off. While cleaning, he gets a call from the mysterious man who once made them anxious with his threats. But the mystery man congratulates him on the marriage and apologizes for terrorizing them. Just as Takuya hangs up, he sees a message from Rika asking for help carrying vegetables at the station. He rushes there and sees her glowing, knowing that she will be his wife who will give him the gawk gawk. On the other hand, she sees him glowing, knowing he will be her husband who will plow her every night. They feel a sudden bliss before greeting each other. Takuya takes her bags, surprising her, and they go to a tea shop, where Rika starts her 5-minute bit, where she yaps about the mountains, but it stretches into hours. She is relieved that he listens, as she has always wanted someone to share her passions, and he feels the same. On their way home, they compare what they love about each other, from their cute noses to his massive glizzy. While walking through the park, Rika holds out her hand, and he takes it, so they walk home together feeling blissful. Months later, they tell family, friends, and co-workers they are getting married, which all of them are happy to hear. Then, one morning, after all the chaos, Rika has breakfast and heads to work. On the way, she stops at Takuya's apartment, and before she even knocks, Takuya opens the door. They greet each other, and then they lean in, close their eyes, and kiss, not just as a couple, but as a married one. If you watched this anime recap until the end, comment down "fake marriage." If you like anime recaps like this, watch this video.